Charleston. There is an election next week on Tuesday. Polls are open from 12 to 8. We will be hearing from candidates in opposed races or contested races. We are only hearing from the candidates. There is not public participation in terms of question and answer tonight. If you would like to talk to a candidate after the event concludes, you are welcome to do so. But we will not be taking questions from the floor during this event. The structure of the event is for each of you to have an introduction of 2 minutes. I will then ask questions, and the order will rotate so that everyone gets a chance to go first and second and last. There are 3 of you anyway. And you'll have 2 minutes to answer. As your time approaches expiration, our gracious sponsor, Jan from the item, will hold up. You have 30 seconds left, when you have 30 seconds left. And then when your 30 seconds are up, you will get stop, at which point you stop. Please don't make me signal the technical people to cut off your microphone, okay? Just go ahead and stop. They're closing the door, so how are they going to see my signals? They'll see it on the camera, I suppose. That being said, please answer the question the best you can. If you have seen these questions, I would like you to tell me now, because we're under the impression that no candidate has seen them. So, thank you.
This candidate hasn't seen them.
Thank you.
I have not.
That being said, we will start with the select board. My expectation thereafter is to proceed to the cemetery trustees, the light commissioners, and the water commissioners. If there's no one to make a statement or answer questions, then we will just move on to the next group of candidates. So 2 minutes to intro, questions. Each of you will have 2 minutes to answer. And at the end, you'll get 2 minutes to make a closing statement. I don't think I said that part previously. You'll get 2 minutes to make a closing statement. So if you want to rebut something that another candidate said and you can't fit it into before you get a stop, then just save it over for your closing statement, okay? I'm going to try to time along with, but the official time is over there. And so that being said, let's start on the left. Introduce yourself, and your 2 minutes of an opening statement start now.
Hey, my name is David Ashwell. My family and I moved to town just about 3 years ago, and we're really happy to call West Boylston home. In that time that we've been living here, we've started getting to know the town, lots of people well, and while it's a great place to live and has all kinds of things going for it, low crime, good schools, we're started picking up on some of the challenges that the town's facing. Budgetary issues, housing is a constant pressure throughout the state, never mind this community. And so upon finding out more about that, I wanted to get more involved with the community. My wife and I both volunteer for various things with our children, Girl Scouts, soccer. So the more we got involved, the more we sort of started to unpack what's going on. The big issues that why I'm really concerned about running, one, I have, selfishly a very vested interest in the school system for my children. I've got a kindergartner and a 3rd grader, so I need the school system selfishly just to keep performing well for at least 12 years, and hopefully many, many years past that. Another issue that's really come up that I've noticed in these infightings that we've seen over budgetary concerns, my take on that is that we fight over 2 pennies to rub together, and we've got to figure out a better way to get more funding through the DCR. I've heard people tell me that's been a problem for years, but in particular, I've never heard of someone getting signatures en masse. My background is not in politics. I have a background in master's in information systems, a bachelor in agricultural economics. I've worked for small to large companies from 10 people to Fortune 500s. Everywhere I've gone, I've been tasked with sort of unpacking complex systems, bringing the folks that know the old systems along and getting them to a better place, simply put. I want to take that mindset and those skills and hopefully apply it to the challenges we're facing as a town. And I hope for your vote.
In the middle.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Frieden. I'm a proud participant in the candidate night here, and I hope I can allow you to confidently vote for me on June 3rd. A quick history on me. I was born overseas, so I can't be president. I grew up in Plymouth, Mass., where my dad was the planning director until I was 12. I'm going to go fast so I can get my 2 minutes, then moved to Worcester with my parents and 2 brothers. Eventually, I graduated from WPI as a mechanical engineer. I've engineered various machines, including nuclear submarines, energy storage, battle bots, and protective packaging, all while loving cars like my not-so-functional 1970 Cadillac DeVille convertible. West Boylston is more than just where I park my truck at night. It's where I call home, where my wife and I bought our house in 1998 and where we raised our 2 daughters. I had the pleasure of serving on many boards and committees over my 20-plus years in town. It all started with coaching my girls in West Boylston youth soccer with Mr. Bindersma, and buying goal frames, nets, inspecting fields every weekend, putting on the corner flags. Then Sustainability Committee, we researched Green Community Program. Back then it cost residents money and had minimal to no benefit, so I recommended against it. Now it's better, so we're involved. From there, it was a whirlwind of services. Select Board, Planning Board, Affordable Housing Trust, Economic Development Task Force, Bylaw Committee, and more. I was even called upon to be town meeting moderator once. I've stepped in to help committees navigate and the sometimes confusing waters of municipal government, helping them to create policies and edit bylaws. Through each role, I've stayed committed to showing up, listening, working hard, and to do the best for our town. My approach is grounded in honesty, consistency, fairness, and finding ways to improve situations for as many people as I can. A general characterization of what guides me and my work and decisions is fairness. My compass always guides me to ensure that decisions.
And that's time.
Oh, I'd be honored if you vote for me.
Thank you. On the right.
Thank you. Good evening, West Boylston friends and family. Thank you for being here tonight. Your presence means a lot. My name is Raj. I stand before you not as a candidate, but as your neighbor, someone who truly cares about our town. 9 years ago, you placed your trust in me, and I have worked every single day to honor that trust. I ran for office because I believe in public service and in the strength of our community. The belief has only grown stronger with time. I lead with integrity, I listen carefully, I follow through. I take pride in being accessible, responsive. Whether it is a policy issue, missed trash pickup, every decision I make guided by one simple question: what is best for our town? Together we have made real progress. We built Pride Park, Mixter Field. We opened Senior Center, Police Station. We have improved roads, supported schools, kept our town government transparent and community focused. I earned doctoral degree in biochemistry, advanced training in Harvard University and BU Medical School. I worked as a senior research scientist over 30 years at UMass Medical School. I'm a board of trustee at a local community college, working to expand access and opportunity. My wife and I have lived our community for 15 years. Our daughter is a transportation engineer in Chicago. Our son is a senior manager at a telecom company in Dallas. We are lucky enough to live in our community. I am proud of what we have accomplished together. I respectfully ask your vote on June 3rd so I can continue to serve our town with honesty and care. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Thank you. All right. We will rotate the order, so we'll start in the middle this time with the questions. There will be 3 questions. The first question is very broad. It is, what, in your view, are the duties of the Select Board, and what qualities do you bring that make you the best candidate? Starting in the middle.
Okay, so the duties of the Select Board are, that you look through, written out on the website, is the policies, and you're responsible for establishing those policies that will guide the town. whenever, and we do other things too. I mean, like Raj said, you handle calls on all sorts of nutty things. When it comes to the policies, though, I think that my honesty, fairness, guidance always wants to make sure that the policy is fair to everybody. It lets you do what you want to do on your property, but it also prevents you from doing things that are going to bother your neighbor or damage your neighbor's property or something like that. I try to hold that fairness through, make sure that everything that we do for the town is always an improvement to the town. I think that's it.
Thank you. You don't have to use all 2 minutes.
Can I use
I'm
the-
banking my 2 minutes.
No, you're not allowed to bank it, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Over here on the right.
The duties of the selectman is, we are the policy makers. We are not policy administrators. We make policies, we vote on appointments, resignations, we look over the budgets, and so on. So why I am qualified to be a selectman? I bring deep experience, proven dedication, and a strong understanding of West Boylston, because I helped to lead and support this town nearly a decade. I served 9 years on the select board, including one time as a chair. That shows a proven leadership on the select board. 7 years on the planning board, 1 year as a chair. I understand how the town government works. 8 years on the zoning board, which gives us a broad knowledge of how the zoning works in our town. And I have also worked on dozens of other committees and boards. I have involved in the budget planning to the regional transportation. I have on the regional transportation, regional planning commissions. I worked on union contract, capital planning, public safety needs, town infrastructures, communication with the residents. The most I like was the communication with the residents. I respond to the residents whenever they call me, whenever they text me, whenever they message on, whenever I see a message on the towns or common websites, like West Boylston Neighbors Connect. I understand the issues, know the process. I am committed to thoughtful, steady leadership and puts the West Boylston first. What I value most is...
That's time.
Thank you.
Thank
My
you.
track record shows
That's
I
time.
get things done.
That's time. Thank you.
Integrity, experience, respect.
Please
for
stop.
all wise.
Over here on the left.
I think the primary role in the position, regardless of the various policies, voting on decisions to make for the town, is to be a listening person for the town, to hear the various needs and concerns of the people that have lived here, whether it's short or long. And that's something that throughout my campaign time, I've been trying to take into account more and more perspectives. I think that focus on trying to get more perspectives in your head guides you to make better decisions in this role. We have, luckily, a wealth of people on different committees that bring years upon years of experience of where the town is, how it got to where it is, and we get to rely on their expertise to help shape that policies as we make them. I've heard from a number of people that they feel that often they're not well heard in this town, or that their words are misconstrued. And, you know, having these one-on-one conversations as I've been going through, the reoccurring theme that I've heard over and over is that our town is seen at different points in time, better days, better services offered. And so I'm trying to take all that information in and make sure that when should I be elected to this position, my thoughts, my focus in those policies that we craft are trying to bring the largest number of people to the table. Obviously, these gentlemen spoke very clearly on the policy side. We also obviously have the town legal counsel to lean into. So for areas where we don't necessarily even need to be a specific expert in whether it's legal terms or whether it's the policies, those are all written. We can lean into them. We can refer to the experts. But consistently being an ear for the town's needs, I feel like is the biggest thing that we can do going forward.
Thank you, that's time. Thank you very much. Appreciate your thoughtful answers. Question 2 is at town meeting, an override was passed, and there's a vote coming up next week on the ballot. What was your position on this override, and what is your approach to next year's budget in terms of spending priorities and proposed budget cuts? We'll start on the right, and your time starts now.
Thank you. So, the last town meetings, the override did pass, but it's not set in stone. We do need the budget, we do need to have the town running. So we need to, the town election is June 3rd. I urge all the people to show up and vote for whatever they wanted to, but we do need the budget to be, we do need this budget. My position on the budget is I'm 100% okay for this time. This is just a one-time Band-Aid. Like the finance committee, one of the finance committee said, it's a one-time Band-Aid. It is not a sustainable solution. I'm not going to ask next year, bring in another override, bring in another override, bring in another override. We have to be mindful of the town residents as well as the seniors who lives on the fixed incomes. My view is, we have our DCR taking up 50% of the land, our jail taking up a lot of resource. So we haven't really looked at it very carefully, or we have to go, this is the time. We did overlooked it. We did brought in Jim O'Day, Harriet Chandler, several times to the select board in my 9 years. We asked him why we are not given more fundings for this. You are using the water. Why we are supplying the water? Why we are not doing it? So today I read the Coben Reservoir around the area. They wrote a letter to the state. They wanted more fundings. They are broke. So we should be joining alliance with those watershed communities, the jail, whoever the sponsors of jails. So we have to call in our state rep, call him and the senator, all those people. We have to advocate at the state level
That's
to
time.
bring more funding.
Thank you. On the left,
I
your
am
time
a-
starts now.
Yeah, so I am a proponent of this year's override. I understand the town last year did not pass that one. I feel that this year, the Finance Committee and the Select Board were armed with better information and a tighter budget for the ask. And I feel that luckily at the town's meeting, we as a majority voted yes on that. Raj is correct in that this is not a long-term fix, and we need to make adjustments going forward. We've had some community members who were voicing further cuts for the schools, which I vehemently disagree with. I feel that the school is already working on a shoestring budget, and further cuts to it would only negatively impact not only the school, but our entire community. As we are trying to attract new residents over time, your school systems are one of your top priorities, and we really, to bring new residents in, and any further cuts there were really just a detriment to our town long-term. As I said in my opening statement, I feel that the chief problem with our budget is the reimbursement from DCR. I've spoken to Representative O'Day directly. I've spoken to multiple other people in town about who and when have we ever gotten all the taxpayers, all the citizens, adults, whatever group you want to think about in this town, in Boylston, perhaps even in Clinton, and brought signatures to the governor's desk. It said, we have 4 million plus people in the Boston metro area that enjoy clean drinking water. 50 cents a person would make a massive difference to these communities in central Massachusetts for writing our budgets. To date, no one's told me that it's ever been tried, and that's one of the things that if I'm elected to the select board, I would lead a charge on to try and make that change. We need a common loud voice to push this agenda at the state level, and we need pennies on the dollar to fix our budget.
And that's time. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughtful answers to question 2.
Wait,
Oh, sorry.
did I answer it? I don't remember answering it.
thank the two of you so far who have answered. And now we'll give the third candidate a chance to answer as well. My apologies, Mr. Frieden.
Thank you very much. So I'll start now. My position was on, for the override was pro because we needed a budget, and I am not at all thrilled with the B budget. I don't think it's anything good for the town to offer to cut trash. I think that once you cut the trash and you can't get your contract back, it's going to be an uphill battle, and it's going to be a worse deal later. So how do you fix budgets? There's short-term tools that the state gives you is the override. And then internally, you can cut services, and then there's stabilization money. We should start talking about stabilization money, just to have the conversation, and decide when stabilization, when you're qualified to have an emergency that uses stabilization money. Do you wait for no library, no senior center, no trash, and then you start doing it? Or is it just a whole different thing? I mean, I haven't had the conversation, I brought it up to people, but who knows? Maybe that's a place for another short-term fix. Long-term money is from pilots, because the other tool is new growth in towns, and we don't have enough room for new growth at a consequence of the DCR owning too much land in town. Pilot money from the DCR, I believe that they do pay pilot money, but it hasn't increased, so that's kind of crazy that we go up 2% every year, but they stay the same for the past, I don't know how many years. That's not reasonable. New growth would go up. I mean, they would go up with your tax rate. So there's pilot money from DCR, pilot money from the jail, pilot money from Holy Cross or Red Cross or the other nonprofits in town. You just have to start asking. Maybe we could have a split tax rate, or we definitely can have a split tax rate. That's something to talk about, but it's not a good idea because you're going to start to, excuse me, push businesses out of town. In general, I think we have to get a balanced approach. You can't just cut. It's hard to cut 10% of everything, and I don't think you can, or whatever the percentage is. It's hard to just say that that's the policy or something like that. So you have to get a balanced approach. You have to talk to everybody, figure out what they can do, maybe find efficiencies, find out where, I don't know, a more efficient boiler would save your gas.
That's time.
Okay.
Thank you. Now I thank all of you
Thank you.
for your thoughtful responses to question 2. And moving on to question 3. Would you please describe a strength of the town and one thing you would like to change immediately, including how you would bring about that change? But just one thing, please. And we'll start on the right this time? No. We're back on the left now.
My right.
Yes. And your time starts now. A strength, one thing you would change and how you'd change it.
I think we have a great community. I think regardless of your status in life, I've noticed that we get great turnouts for our various activities. Let's say parades, let's say opening day festival activities, even if you're not playing baseball. I see people from surrounding towns because we're in leagues with some, but others just because they wanted to show up for those festivities. We really have that small town charm locked down, and we should stay with that. It's fantastic. And people enjoy coming here to partake in that feeling. One thing to change, not to beat the dead horse, but we're going to stay on the DCR. I think that is just the biggest weight on our town budget, and we solve that, and we're no longer a town at odds with each other over these fights. I believe the specific numbers where we're paid $650,000 this past year, which goes up 1.1% per year, if I recall, from the FinCom committee. Across the amount of acreage they have, that's essentially just atrocious. And I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record, but that I really feel is the crux to this town's problems. We overcome that, and we get to start making really long-term, better changes for the town and have a glide path on financial guidance.
Thank you. On time and under budget. In the middle?
Okay. I think the strength of the town, one of the strengths of the towns that I see very strongly is the fire department and the ambulance service and the proximity to the hospital. I think that if you're sick in this town, it's not a problem. You can get the excellent ambulance service, and they'll get you to the hospital in a second. I think that that's a selling point. That's why we have senior communities that are popular. I mean, I think it's a thing. The thing I would change, I'm not sure. In town hall, I would say that the one thing I would change here is something about the volunteer experience. When you come to work for the board, good luck. Just kidding. There's some things that you have to do on your own, like you have to come up with your own way to take minutes, you have to come up with your own, whatever, you conform to how you publish meetings and do all this kind of stuff. I think that could be softened or assisted somehow. Maybe have like an office of, whatever, minute takers or some such thing, just so that the board can concentrate on their goal and not on their mechanics. Like, oh, I have to have my meeting, I have to have it posted, I have to have the agenda. No, what's your point? I want to go to the DCR, this is what we're going to fight for. Oh, but I can't do that right now because I have to go write minutes, and I think that there is a volunteer experience we could improve in town. I'm done.
Thank you.
I'm banking the rest of my money.
Also on time and under budget. Thank you. And on the right?
The one thing I like about this town is very peaceful, no crime, and a small town with a big heart. Everyone is, it is a community, during the good times and bad times, we rally for the cause. So that's the one good thing I like. The one thing I like to change is, I like to bring in, again, I'm going to say the same thing, sustainable budget. We have to get more money from the state or the federal, whatever the source, we have to get our fair share of money from the state. That's one thing. The second thing is, it's very simple. Like, we don't have a magic wand to say it and then we get the money. No, we don't. So we have to live like our house, we have to live within our means. That means we have to gather around all the town departments, doesn't matter, DPW, fire, police, schools. We have to find a way to talk about it and then see where we can make some changes. So for an example, if I have to cut some money in the household, if we go 2, 3, 4 times a day outside eating, we'll cut it down to 1. Same way, I'm not against any one department. As a selectman, I'm looking at the big picture. As a selectman, I'm looking at the town, not one department. Benefit of the entire town, benefit of all the departments. So one thing is, we still have from one department to another department, the budget crises are there. We have to have a long-term, sustainable funding budget.
Thank
That's
you.
the one thing I want to change.
And that's time. Thank you. At this point, those are the 3 questions. I think everybody answered all 3, right? Yes. I didn't mess that up any further.
Mark, did you answer the
Yeah, I
last
think,
one?
we went in order.
You now get 2 minutes for a closing statement. Again, you don't have to use it all, but please don't use more. And I believe we now start in the middle for this one.
Okay. So in closing, again, Mark Frieden, hope for your vote on Tuesday. I believe our community deserves thoughtful, practiced leadership that listens and acts and brings fresh, creative ideas to the table. I will work hard to represent your interests, listen to you, make balanced decisions, come up with good ideas, and always be open to your ideas. Some examples of what I've done, which I didn't get into because I banked all my time. Recent examples of floodplain bylaw modification. I mean, I took this on, it was a tough time because we're in between 7 TAs, but we did it. The whole point of it was to give people in town who have property that is contacted in floodplain, an opportunity to get federal floodplain insurance or federal flood insurance. I just picked it up and ran with it to get it done. We used CMRPC to make the map, coordinated with DCR. Actually, DCR has good people. They are good people. They helped us write the part of the document that was the bylaw. That was an example of something I've done in addition to the soccer stuff. There's lots of things, well, anyways, I'll leave it at that, and I just wish for your vote on Tuesday, and vote for the override, just because we can't deal with having no trash and no cut budgets, and then next year it's gonna be worse. It's devastating. We have to have not that budget.
Thank you. On the right.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. West Boylston is more than just a place to live. It is a community that supports one another and comes together in both good times and times of challenge. I always work to serve in the same spirit with fairness, independence, and a clear focus on what matters to you. For the past 9 years as a selectman, I have helped set policies, manage budget, negotiate contracts, responded directly to your concerns. It is a role built on trust, responsibility, and I am proud of to serve with a care and commitment. In addition to select board, I have served more than 15 town boards and committees, including planning board, zoning board. My service as a trustee in a community college system has further strengthened my focus on workforce development and long-term planning. My experience has given me a broad and practical understanding of how town government works and what our town needs, grow and thrive. Public service is not just about showing up to the meeting. It's about being available, listen carefully, and follow through. Whether it is a budget challenge or missed trash pickup or a zoning concern, I treated every issue the same respect. No voice is too small. Every concern matters. I ask for your vote on 4th term to continue to work for you. I bring not just experience, but commitment. I care deeply about this town. My vision is to see West Boylston thrive, stay united, and grow stronger together. Thank you for being part of this process. I respectfully ask your support and your vote. Let us continue to work together for the good of West Boylston.
And that's time.
Thank you
Thank
and
you.
good night.
And on the left.
And so in my closing remarks here, I'd also just like to point out that, we may have skipped over in this debate a couple of the really positive things we have going for the town that I would also just like to highlight we do well, and I hope to continue seeing going well. When we have an excellent light plant. We enjoy the 3rd lowest rates, I think, of electricity in the state. That can't be understated for a town, and the cost of living increases, and that light plant keeps working along great. Fiber optic internet is coming. That's a huge, huge draw for businesses that require those needs. As an IT professional, I can tell you that I personally am just super excited to have the opportunity to come to my house and to businesses in town. So I think we have a number of, and last thing, just the snow removal is on point. Driving around any other communities compared to here, the snow removal beats them hands down. And someone who grew up in Virginia, I very much appreciate the snow not being in front of me. We've got some great momentum in different places. We need to make sure that in the course of all these conversations of what we need to change and this and that, make sure we keep those points in the back of our mind of this isn't all doom and gloom. We've got some challenges to overcome. As a community, I think we can figure out how to rally around those pain points, DCR, and overcome them. And at that point, we live in a fantastic spot in this state, and I think we should all just keep that in mind as we're going through this. I would really love your vote on Tuesday, June 3rd. Again, to harken back to just many stories that have been told from people who lived here for 30 years, this community 30 years ago sounded like it had everything you could ever dream for in a town, and I would really love to figure out how we can start working our way back to those services. I would love to see things like our fields get upgraded, and I know we're working towards that as well, so my kids can play. So, thank you.
Time. Thank you. Candidates, we appreciate your attendance tonight. Thank you for your thoughtful responses and your diligent efforts to respect the time. You did a wonderful job, but we do need to get some other candidates up. So if I could ask you to.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Jan.
Cemetery trustees are next.
Is Kenneth Quist here?
No, he's not.
Just checking. I had a try from him, so I wanted to double check. So again, 30 seconds. Stop.
Okay, it's the same format. You'll get 2 minutes to introduce yourself and make whatever opening statement you would like. 3 questions, 2 minutes each to answer. We'll swap back and forth, and then a 2-minute closing, okay? And I will try to make sure that you both get to answer.
I'm keeping track.
So we'll start on the right this time. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and your 2 minutes start now.
Good evening. My name's Catherine Callahan. Thank you to Jan and Item for hosting us. My name's Catherine Callahan, and I've proudly lived in West Boylston for 34 years. As a retired postmaster, and I'm currently Vice President of the United States Postmasters of America Retirees, I also volunteer for our senior center. And so community service has always been a large part of what I do. Beyond my career, I'm committed to serving our community through the volunteer work I do at the senior center. I've had the privilege of connecting with individuals that shape our town. I am an advocate for the policies that honor the dignity in the work, and I do work closely with the community. My top priorities are to ensure the cemetery remain well-maintained and respectful of the spaces that we have. We're coming up against several challenges with our cemetery, as many of you are aware. And so my platform is honoring our past and preserving our future. As you know, we're running out of space at the Mount Vernon Cemetery. Section S is pretty much the last place to purchase a plot. And we're going to have to move up by the jail. And so I can get into some of the ideas I had about that. Other challenges we've had is preserving the dignity of the cemetery with the rules and regulations.
And that's time, I'm sorry.
That's it?
That's
Okay.
time. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
2 minutes, starting just a moment. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Rob McKenzie. I live in West Boylston, obviously. I've always tried to serve the communities that I've lived in. I grew up next door in Boylston. I served on the Boylston Fire Department as a firefighter and emergency medical technician. I've also served on the Zoning Board of Appeals in the town. West Boylston's been my home for just going on 8 years. My family and I love it here. My wife grew up in town. She's an original. I swam across the reservoir, and she found me on the other side and brought me in. So I'm running for the Cemetery Commission. I like to serve the communities that I live in, and that's one of the boards that I'd like to help out and serve my town.
Thank you. All right, first question. What is the role of the cemetery trustees? What qualifications do you bring to the board? And we'll start on the left. And you have 2 minutes. Don't forget that you'll get a flash for 30 seconds if you're approaching the
And I'll
minute
hit
and a
the
half.
table also, so you can,
Okay? So 2 minutes, go ahead.
I've been the sales manager for my company, which was the old Schultz Lubricants on Shrewsbury Street, for 33 years. I deal with a variety of people, from CEOs, CFOs, to mechanics, just a number of different ways you need to communicate with people, and I think that's the major thing you need to do. People might not like the certain rules that the cemetery has instituted, but you need to be firm, the rules are in place, and you need to be a good communicator.
Thank you.
My understanding of the trustee is to surely implement the rules and regulations. They've worked very hard, the current trustees, to update the rules and regulations of the cemetery. And of course, they're there to make sure we maintain the dignity and respect, and it's difficult for the groundskeepers to work around superfluous plantings and so forth. And I've spoken to people about it, and what the difference is I speak one-on-one with these people, and these people require empathy. They feel very passionate, they've lost their loved ones, and I offer that one-on-one empathy. Yes, we have our rules and regulations, and this is why. And the people I've spoken to have said, oh, okay, I understand. Some people don't want to understand. You know, I can deal with that, but at least you had a person, one-on-one, that empathetic person who really cares about your loved one and how you lost your loved one and how you feel.
Thank you. Question 2. Some view cemeteries as areas for passive recreation, but others find it disrespectful to have dogs walked in the cemetery, doing what dogs do when they are walked, especially when their owners do not clean up after them. How do you address this problem as a cemetery trustee?
This is an easy one for me. My husband and I walk the cemetery personally. We enjoy taking our walks on the cemetery. I have to say, that issue has been addressed recently by the current trustees, and it's been fairly successful. I have not seen bags of, dog, whatever, refuse. I have not even witnessed that. And if I do see it, I'll pick it up, but I haven't. I will honestly say, they've put up new signage, and they've done a great job addressing that problem. So I think simply by the fact that my husband and I walk the cemetery on a regular basis, I keep an eye out for things like that.
Thank you. And on the left.
I think the cemetery trustees have done a good job curbing the dog problem down at the cemetery. I would be frustrated to have dogs running free down there and doing their business. I'm glad the rules have been instituted, and I hope the program continues to be. You'd hate to have reliable, legitimate dog owners that take care of their pets and what they do banned from the cemetery. So hopefully the program keeps working, and I would strive to enforce that as well.
Thank you. Question 3. What is the biggest problem facing the cemeteries going forward, and how would you address it? And we'll start on the left this time.
I think the biggest problem going forward is obviously the lack of space. I understand there's property set aside up near the House of Corrections. I'm not too familiar with the amount of space up there that would be allowed to do the new cemetery up there. I've spoken to a few local contractors that live in West Boylston. I won't mention any names, but they would be very interested. They've done a lot of work for the town in the past. Their families from town, 100 years of service for the town. Would be good to talk to him, maybe get a suggestion on how you clear the land. But I think that is the primary concern. I mean, we're running out of room, and it needs to be developed, or at least a plan in place going forward just for the future. Can't wait for the last minute to do that.
Thank you.
Yes, I recently took a tour of the cemetery with the foreman. He was very gracious. He showed me every single avenue of that cemetery, and for sure, the space constraints is the biggest problem. And the two of us came up with an idea, a columbarium, perhaps. A columbarium is a structure that houses cremated remains. Cremation is really what people are opting for. There's a big surge in people interested in cremation, and to store the cremated remains on that last area, beyond S, there's a hill. They can do a beautiful job with the columbarium. People love it because it's cost-effective. People can postpone their burials, and it's good for the environment. And I know a mausoleum was proposed a couple of years ago, which people rejected, but I think a columbarium would be ideal for that area. It could be built into that hill, in that, beyond that S area. I'm very excited to try to get the ball rolling on that.
Thank you. Those are the three questions. With just two of you, I think I gave both of you all the opportunities to answer.
You did.
You now have an opportunity for a closing statement of up to 2 minutes. Let's see, we just started there, so we're starting here. And please go ahead.
Okay, again, my name's Catherine Callahan, Kathy Callahan. I have a personal interest in this cemetery. I plan to be buried there myself, but hopefully not too soon. And, you know, as a career in public service, that's what I've done my whole life. You know, my vision is rooted in both preservation and progress, from caring for the headstones, which I think that little area needs to be addressed, the historic area, and to the addition of the columbarium. I also believe strongly in the collaboration, and I look forward to working alongside the dedicated team of the trust and the foreman. They're amazing people. And I want to give a shout out to the DPW because they did an amazing job for Memorial Day. It was really moving. So I ask for your vote so I can continue serving West Boylston with integrity, compassion, and a deep sense of responsibility. And I thank you.
Thank you. On the left.
Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate the time you've given me. Again, I'll do my best to serve the town. I'd like to see the cemetery go forward with the, at least projection of plans of a new spot, so there's room. Columbarium is great. That's a short-term fix for the corner of the cemetery, but I still believe a lot of people like the traditional burials where you're gonna need the room, regardless. So I'd like to work with the other team members and the trustees to come up with a plan, at least plan the future for the town. It's a lot of work, there's a lot of logistics into it, and going forward, I'd like to make that a priority.
Thank you very much. Candidates, we appreciate your attendance tonight and
Thank
your
you.
thoughtful consideration of the
Thank you.
questions and your very timely responses. Thank you very much. If you would. Do we have candidates for the light commissioner tonight? Any candidates for light commissioner who want to speak? Hearing none, we will move on to water commissioners. Anyone for water commissioners? Can it possibly be that we would be done this fast? Because I don't have any other contested races. I second that. I think that concludes our evening then, and maybe you can get some FaceTime with your candidate of interest and have a conversation about whatever's on your mind. Thank you so much for your quiet and respectful attention. It made my job super easy. And don't forget to vote on Tuesday, which I think is the 3rd and not the 4th. I might have misspoken at the outset. So vote on Tuesday, 12 to 8, vote on Tuesday. Thanks for attending tonight.
Thank you.